everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and I can't get my microphone stand to work. With me this week, I've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What's up, pasta pals?
Hello, Spaghetti Jim. How are you?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
I feel like at this point, just saying that directly to just Claire's family.
Just directly to them.
When I'm saying hi, pasta pals, that's who I'm talking to.
They are the pasta
Claire's
pals.
brothers.
Oh, man. Well, on that note, one of our faithful listeners did suggest that you maybe just need a new cartridge for your shower if it's having temperature issues.
A cartridge.
What's a cartridge?
I don't even know. Like, do you blow on it and plug it in? Or like
CO2.
Yeah.
Should showers act like Super Nintendos?
I don't know. Because last week you said you had issues where like you turn it on and there's just nothing
It's just
you can do. It
insanely
just
hot, and
it
there's
just
no.
you have minutes, seconds maybe before it becomes super hot.
Yep. Cartridge.
But you need a new cartridge.
I've never heard of a shower
and
cartridge.
if it's a certain brand, he may be able to hook you up.
Nice.
Well, if you know what a cartridge is, though, you can tweet us at FNL Podcast on the Twitter or the Gmail and tell us what the hell a shower cartridge is.
Does it look at all like an N64 game?
Because you got a few of those and you just try it yourself.
Because that's what I think of when I think of a cartridge.
Yeah.
You can borrow. Well, you can't borrow this one. I pulled out the one Nintendo 64 game that I would not want to get destroyed.
What is
Dr. Mario 64.
One
One of
I
the
will
best.
not put that in my shower.
Is it like Dr. Mario but in 3D?
It's just exactly like Dr. Mario.
It's just Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
It's just like, looks slightly updated. God, 3D Dr. Mario sounds terrible.
What would that even? Huh?
It's like in a jar. It's just counting how many pills are in this jar.
Is that a thing? Is there like a Tetris 3D?
I've seen like videos
Probably.
of one where you have to it's like some sort of sphere you need to spin around.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Mhm.
Yeah. My
It
dumb
is.
mind likes 2D planes.
Mhm.
Yep.
I can't handle that. Okay, well, this isn't How to Fix Jimmy's Shower podcast.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I mean, it will be until we fix it, right?
Tune in next week.
Joe told me last week I wasn't allowed to ask him this anymore. But Joe,
Hey.
what is that thing you normally say when I ask you a question?
Give us a little rundown. This is the first and last pod. We take a TV show and watch the first episode, then skip right to the end, watch the last episode. Nothing in between. We just make it up for ourselves what happened in between. But we just judge a TV show just by the first and last.
That's
the first
damn
taste,
right.
last taste. It's the best way to judge things.
Tastes.
Just like, your first impression of a person and then the last time you talk to them.
That's all you remember.
Yeah.
It's the best parts of the meal. It's the first bite and the last bite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a first bite of the meal is super important. And if a meal can't hold up through the whole meal to have a good last bite, I would say it's not a very good meal.
I'm very weird about how I eat. You guys have probably seen this. But I whether it's a sandwich or like a meal that's kind of like, spread out on a plate, I try to make sure that everything's eaten in proportional manner such that the last bite has the perfect proportions of everything, whether it's meat, bread and cheese or pasta and sauce.
That just does not sound sustainable to me. How do you make it to the end of the meal and haven't eaten one thing more than the other? At a certain point, you have to eat something first.
Yeah. It's definitely
Okay.
not perfect. Yeah, especially if you have a sandwich that's overly bready or something, right? There's
Sure.
going to be a few more bites in there that are more bread than not. But if you had a hot dog, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have a little bit of hot dog sticking out the front and the back. So I'm eating on both ends so that
to get it to the point
yeah,
where your
so that
proportions
the
are
middle
correct. Okay.
and it's perfect.
How much do you fret over your ketchup and mustard, not intake, but
levels?
application?
A good amount. I try to make it even. Yeah, try to make it so there's no gaps. It's just spread evenly between.
Well, this has been enlightening.
It's weird, I know, but it's dude.
Huh.
I've been doing it for every meal almost my entire life.
Well, it doesn't seem too
man.
debilitating, so I think you're doing
Still
fine.
eating food. That's
Yeah, you're
good.
still eating
That's a good
food.
sign.
Yeah, I mean,
Completing meals.
or like eating like a slice of pizza. I'll like take a bite of like the pizza part and then take a bite of the crust.
That's
like,
messed
keep going
up.
back
That
and
part's
forth.
messed up.
Yeah.
Bec-
So
yeah.
that now you're not
What?
left at the end with just like a bunch of crust that you don't want
Well,
to eat, right?
I
That's
like
true.
eating my crust.
What if you have like a sauce? I feel like if you have like a good marinara or something, then when you get to the crust, then you're at a new meal now. You're a new
Like if you
part
have like
of
that to dip it in.
yeah. Now it's just dipping.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
Vessels.
still going back and forth and having a bite of pizza, having a bite of
Man.
crust in sauce. Yeah. So
Huh. Now I'm getting hungry. So we're doing
Food show tonight.
man versus food. No, I'm just kidding.
oh man.
Oh man, I'd watch Man versus Food.
I do love food shows though. I loved Man versus Food. I loved No Reservations, the Anthony Bourdain one.
Mm-hmm.
Diners, whatever. I'll watch
Triple D.
Triple D. Even though I just fuck that guy. I'll say it. Fuck that guy.
Guy Fieri is mildly he is infuriating. He's actually like seemingly a really nice guy though, and does a lot of like charity stuff. Just to throw that in your face.
I've heard otherwise.
He seems sweaty.
I mean, that's probably somewhat his fault. He eats a lot of weird stuff. It's probably not very good for you.
Fair enough. Well, what do you got for us, Jimmy?
Nothing about food, I think.
Oh, okay.
There's probably some food involved.
Probably eat. Someone's gonna eat something.
If I think about it enough, there's food. No, I'm super pumped for this. This is a show that I'm sure I've seen all of at some point. I think it's been a really long time. And I need to apologize to our resident anime expert, Nick. Because I picked Cowboy Bebop, which I cannot believe we haven't done.
I 100% have seen all of this show because this is one of the greatest animes ever made. I'm gonna
Have you
point that.
seen
I'm
any
gonna
of
put that
this
out there
show?
right
I
now.
feel like I knew that about you, that you like have seen this a lot. I've never seen it.
Amazing. So I was actually on the like IMDb, like whoever votes or whatever this like article is like the like top rated shows of all time, like just best TV shows. And this was on there and I was like, oh man, this has got to be streaming on something right now. I know I've looked in the past and it hadn't been, but it is currently streaming. It ran in Japan in 99, I believe. Didn't make it, or 98. And it wasn't the full season for whatever reason. And then in the US, at least, it aired on Adult Swim in 2001. And then there was also a movie that year, which I think wraps up is basically just picks up right after the show. I assume. I think it's been a long time since I've seen that.
I know. So I know what happens in either the ending. I've seen both the movie and the ending, and it's.
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, I confuse it with Firefly sometimes because Firefly has that Serenity movie, and so there's some finalities
also
that happen.
Space and cowboy.
Yeah, it's just that. But there's definitely some finalities that happen in either both of those last episodes or both of those movies. That the movies are either right after the final episode or they're like somewhere before it because of what happens in the last episode.
Okay, sure.
Kind of thing. But with that being said, I can't accurately remember what TV show I'm talking about or which, if it's TV show or movie.
So funny enough is on that IMDb article, Firefly is also on that list, and I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking that like if you were a Firefly fan,
or a flan,
or a flan, like the treat, like the
Like that French
Mexican
dessert. Is it
Isn't
Mexican?
Isn't
French?
it? I feel like I thought it was Hispanic of some kind. Flan.
So
Anyway,
I don't really like
if you're
flan.
a
So
Firefly fan and you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, I think you would love it, and vice versa. Does that make sense?
and Cowboy Bebop has, I think, categorically better music than Firefly does. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's one thing that Joe, you'll find out. I think is that Cowboy Bebop has great music.
Yeah, it's very music focused. The theme song, Tank, which is performed by a Japanese jazz band that I can't remember the name of right now. We'll have to look up. This is amazing. But also, like, each episode title is like either a genre of music or like a specific song. Like, I'm pretty sure Bohemian Rhapsody is the name of one of the episodes.
Also, did you pick this in a random? Was this a random happenstance because of the Netflix live action Cowboy Bebop?
I was also gonna bring that up.
Okay.
This November, there's a live action that I'm super excited for,
Yeah, I've seen things about that.
and that's also it's the same like production companies involved too, which I think is really awesome. It's what's his name?
John Cho.
John Cho. So
Harold.
it's gonna be great.
Yeah, Harold.
Of
Harold doing some like
Yeah.
Tai Chi. I'm pumped. I'm gonna watch the crap out of that.
Yeah.
But it's short though. I think I saw it's only like 10 episodes, which is pretty typical these days. But
How long was the original series?
it's 26 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just one season, and then the movie
Correct.
in the U.S. I think it ran a little differently in Japan, but
When I've liked Cowboy Bebop since like high school / wanted to watch more of it in college, and I bought the DVD set of it, which I believe is somewhere in this apartment somewhere. And I got it, but the DVD set back in the day was like, it might have came from China, or like it was like region locked, and so it wouldn't like work
that's right.
in regular DVD players and stuff. It would only work it was either my PS2 back in the day or like my MacBook Pro or my MacBook or whatever. It would only work in one of those two things, and any other DVD player I put it in, it wouldn't work because it was region locked. But now today, because I don't know,
It's interesting.
it's fine. It works fine now. I mean, I also
Right.
haven't put it in
Disc
a
drive
DVD.
or just
Do I have a disc drive anywhere anymore? My computer sure doesn't. I can tell you that.
right. Toss it in your PlayStation.
Yeah, basically. Joe, what are your thoughts currently? Are you
there's
scared?
Cowboy in the name. It's anime. I assume it's like kind of like Firefly, some sort of like space western thing.
Mm-hmm. Pretty on point there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're gonna get maybe some horses, some
Sure hope so.
6-shooters, maybe some lassoing, and a big space laser.
6 shooters and lasers.
Yeah.
So you said, yeah, I mean, what you just described to me was just space cowboy Star Wars.
Yeah, and there's a Death Star. Yeah, with a big laser mounted on it. Guys just riding a horse up to it.
So are there rebels and Imperials?
No, it's just a bunch of like Confederate armies that are just warring against each other. There's no
Yankees.
There's
It's all
no
bad guys.
There's no empire. It's just a bunch of people who are just like trying to figure out space. Mm-hmm.
All right.
The anime, when it premiered in Japan on TV Tokyo in '96, it only ran for 12 episodes due to its controversial adult-themed content.
Ooh.
98, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I just didn't read that number right.
Okay.
98.
A little violent, a little sexy.
A little violent, a little sexy. The one thing that'll be interesting is Jimmy knows this for sure, but I don't know which characters. There are some later characters in this show that are not going to be there in episode 1. You're definitely going to meet Spike Spiegel, who is John Cho. When you obviously inevitably watch the Netflix series, Joe.
Sure. Yeah.
And then there's Jet.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a metal arm.
He's like the pilot.
Yeah, I think he's the owner of the ship.
Yeah,
the spaceship.
And he's like some sort of ace pilot.
Yeah, but I think like the show starts off with those two, and that's it. And I don't know if we meet Faye in the first. I think we meet her in the first episode, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 other ones, and I don't necessarily want to ruin anything for you, Joe. But there are 2 other characters for sure that are like quote unquote part of the crew.
Yeah.
You know, that will not be in the first episode for sure.
And a pet.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I assume there's like some sort of like Chewy character that's like, like part animal pet, but also like smart. So it like could be like a Chewy where it's like walking upright, but not.
Well, the pet was one of the 2 crew members that I was talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, because it was. I mean, I was talking about Ed and Nine. Because there's not anybody else besides Faye, Ed and Nine, Jet and Lee, or Jet and Spike.
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee. The Spike Lee
Bruce
joint.
Lee. I feel like Spike is definitely got like a Bruce Lee kind of vibe sometimes.
Okay.
Drunken boxer vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I really honestly think right away going into this, I think Firefly is a really good like way to describe this show currently. Think of Firefly, but anime with, I would say, more compelling characters, better music, and probably an more interesting story. So did I talk that up enough?
I mean, and interesting art because it's anime as opposed to live action. There's just so much more you can do with the visual presentation.
That's true. But how dare you say those things about Firefly?
Firefly is also one of my favorite shows, like, to be honest. But it's just like, in my opinion, it doesn't hold a candle to Cowboy Bebop.
Wow. All right then.
And I love Nathan Fillion and everything.
God, Firefly's so good.
Should we just get into this first episode?
Yeah.
Okay. First episode of Cowboy Bebop. Looks like it premiered in the English air date was Adult Swim September 3rd, 2001. It aired originally in Japan on October 24th, 1998. It's called Asteroid Blues. And we'll be back after that. And we're back. We're done with the first episode of Cowboy Bebop. It was called Asteroid Blues.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you got it right up.
Yeah, I do. By Anonymous here on the IMDb, fellow bounty hunters and longtime partners Spike and Jet track down Asimov Solensen and his girlfriend, both of whom are looking for buyers for an illegal drug known as Red Eye, which Asimov stole from an underground organization. Asimov abuses the drug himself, however, which makes subduing him a difficult task. And then they don't really, because in process, the whatever Earth space cops, because they're in space, and Jet gets this space transmission for a bounty on Asimov, and he's trying to tell Spike about it while they eat peppers and beef, which is really just peppers.
Yeah, no beef.
Because they're poor. And it's in Tijuana. So they go to Earth, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They're in space, but the first episode just takes place just back on Earth.
Just takes place in Tijuana.
Yeah.
Space Earth. And then Spike meets with the guy named Laughing Bull, who he knows from prior adventures, apparently.
Or like that shaman type person.
Mm-hmm. And he tells him where he's going to find this guy, the Asimov. They go. There's like crime syndicates, like also tracking Asimov. So there's all kinds of fun gunfights and stuff. But anyway, so Spike is following after them, Asimov and his girlfriend, into space.
Katrina, by the way.
Katrina. But like the police are there, and they just shoot up the the criminal's ship, and they're dead.
Did I see that she shot up Asimov?
Yeah, she killed him.
Yeah, because he was like too zoned out on like red eye.
Yeah.
And he had like also like yelled at her about like losing some of the vials. It seemed like
tweaking.
Yeah, some of the conflict was like she's like, you know, she's got her eyes on like getting to Mars and like starting a new life there, and he's just like you know, he's all about, you know, this drug trade that he's just like, hell yeah, I'm like living it up on this drugs and also just like want to push this stuff.
Well, I mean, his thing was they have to sell it so they can get to Mars. Basically, they have to get rid of it so they can make money to get to Mars. And then Katrina runs into Spike before Asimov meets Spike, basically. And she's like, oh, I want to go to Mars. And Spike's like, yeah, hey, I was born on Mars. And she's like, I heard it's great. And he's like, if you're rich. And she like looks down at her belly and she's like, we'll be just fine then. And this is when we assume she's pregnant.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of a fun little turnaround as the whole episode. You assume she's pregnant the whole time.
Yeah, because she's like touching her tum.
Yeah, but she really just has like a bag full of drugs under her dress, basically, that is meant to look like a pregnant belly.
Clever. Which you see very, actually kind of like subtly, but it's pretty quick when she's floating off into space, when her ship's been shot up, you see the vials like spinning out from her tum, but like super quick.
Right before that, though, before they get into the spaceship and go to space, she does get like shot in the stomach.
Yeah, there's a scene on Earth too where it gets revealed.
Oh,
like
okay.
And it spills out, and Asimov like yells at her.
Yeah, because he's like, we need every one of those vials. Yeah,
right.
He's like, you're dumb. She's like, that's a bad idea. Yelling at me.
But yeah, so yeah, she shoots him up before, like literally seconds before they get shot up by the cops.
Yeah. She kind of was just like, well, I guess we're screwed. And then for some reason, she probably just like shot him, I guess, probably just be like, it's over, but you're going to like make this hell. Like, you know, like this is going to be way worse if you just continue to be alive.
One last thing for me before I eat it too.
I'm going to shoot you and kill you. They had the same last name.
Put him out of his misery. He was tweaking balls.
Also that.
Yeah, they had the same last name according to IMDb. And I mean, I'm wondering. I assume they were like married then or something. I didn't get a brother sister vibe. So
I had assumed that too. So for me watching this, I thought that was it Katrina? Is that her name?
Yep.
I thought Asimov and Katrina were gonna be like part of the crew, main characters for like the show. Like I thought it was gonna be like Spike and Jet meet them here. They get in some sort of entanglement, but then by the end of the episode, they're like part of the crew and they're working together. But then they died, and I was like, oh man, did not see that coming.
Very dark. Yeah.
Interesting. What did you think about this, Joe?
I was very interested. Yeah, I dug it just from the standpoint of like, just the vibes of just like you know, space cowboy shit. That's great, but then also it's very uncomplicated in that it's not. There's some sort of galactic. I mean, there's some space cops, but they didn't really get into that, right? There wasn't some like galactic space trade going on. It's just like there's a bounty hunter and there's some sort of, you know, inequality between Mars and Earth, and like, cool, that's a great place to just start. And that's all they really give you in the first episode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and you only meet two characters like reoccurring, obviously, because Asimov and Katrina are dead. You meet Spike, who's very clearly the main character. And then Jet, who is the owner of the Bebop.
Yeah,
and they're like partnered up.
I just felt like it was like a good like introduction to the world, and sometimes when you do an introduction to the world, it's like you get a little bit too ahead of yourself of like, there's all this stuff going on. Like, you don't understand. There's all this politics going on. But it was really just like, yeah, we're in space, but also we go back to Earth. And like Mars is a place you want to be.
Right.
And that's it for the world building.
Be rich on Mars. It's going to be great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was paying attention too because they spend a lot of time with Spike, obviously, and pretty much I feel like gave you a pretty solid idea of what his character is. Very like chill, confident, like laid back, but like
little
can definitely
arrogant.
back it up.
I have some questions about Spike. I get those things about him being chill and laid back. I get indications of his what it's like to hang with Spike.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about like his morals. Like, is he like a good guy? Is he kind of morally gray? I don't know where he kind of stands on.
That's kind of the cowboy question, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is if we were playing
he's a bounty hunter, but like is that a good guy? Not
Yeah, I don't really know what the context is like, and even where the parts where Katrina was talking about like, yeah, like Mars is a great place if you're rich. He just kind of goes like, huh, to that, and I didn't really get a read on like, how does Spike feel about that?
right. I mean, maybe this is a little too on a good guy side, but if I was rolling a D&D character and I was going to name him Spike Spiegel, maybe I'd say he's lawful chaotic.
Okay.
Like,
Vigilantism.
Lawful and chaotic are on the same axis. So is he like lawful good or evil, or chaotic good or evil?
I would say he leans more towards good, but I think there's probably some ambiguity there for that. But for the most part, like I would say he's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they are trying to bring in bad guys, but I guess they are also bounty hunters that are like. And you'll find out later on is like there's a TV show, I forget what it's called, that they watch, and it's like a bounty hunter TV show, and they're like, "Hey, everybody!
It's
like
how
this is the big
how
bounty."
they work in the next on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It may be
Which
also
is fun.
be a difference of this thing, premiered in Japan in 1998 and the United States in 2001, and I'm watching it in 2021. Like, I'm not going to talk about that one show, but there's a lot of shows where the main protagonist is a anti-hero. And I feel like that's, kind of a post 2001 thing that like, maybe when you watch this, you are just like, hey, you showed me this character like practicing Kung Fu in space. He's my guy. I'm with him, and I understand that he's a good guy.
I think this is true. I think Jet is an ex-cop, like an actual ex-cop. I think he was a
like
cop on Earth
detective
somewhere.
or something. Get that vibe.
So there's that. But I mean, Mike from Breaking Bad was also an
and
ex-cop.
then he has some like old connections from the Force that he can get some intel.
He totally talks to some cop at some point that he worked with in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, Spike's a burrito, like there's a lot of ingredients within those layers.
He's an onion.
No, a burrito.
Full-on burrito.
Shrek. You never seen Shrek?
Yeah, we all like Mike
I've
Myers.
actually never
Jimmy.
seen Shrek.
Oh, that's amazing.
Really?
That's like impressive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'd have avoided it for this long.
yeah, it's like, have you actively not watched Shrek?
Not really, but like, when's the last time someone said you like, yo, let's watch Shrek? Like, it's easy to miss.
No, it's not hard.
Hey, Joe. Let's watch Shrek.
Hey, I'm down.
Next week,
I'm interested.
Next week, first and last live stream, we watch Shrek.
Eddie Murphy as a donkey? Come on.
Yeah, sure. Great.
But what I was saying was it focused more on Spike at least a little bit and gave you like a feel for him, but obviously he's got some question marks that you're like, I guess I don't quite know where this guy
he grew up
lies.
on Mars and he's got feelings about it.
Right.
That's fun.
And then he's got a guy that also works with him named Jet, and Jet wasn't really too involved very much, besides you just kind of like they're partners, like you definitely know that. And that's kind of it.
I'm going to drop you off where this criminal is. You pick him up, and then we will eat food.
One other big thing about this show, Joe, how'd you like music thoughts?
It was good. I mean, the big music piece, at least in this first one, is the opening credits, just some sort of jazz piece. I wonder if it's bebop. I don't know enough about
yeah
jazz.
I'd say it's like big band meets bebop.
Okay,
hard bop.
Yeah, and like that intro rules.
Hell yeah,
kind of reminds me of some like Tarantino stuff.
Ooh yeah.
Especially the way that like credits are stylized with the colors. And then in the in-betweens and stuff in Mexico, there's some just like, kind of southwestern guitar stuff that kind of fits the like western Mexico vibe. It's all, like quality stuff. It's clear that they like cared about this and wanted to like make this be a part of the show and not just, well, we got to have music.
Right. So,
yeah, it's very much a part of what makes the show stand out, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Maybe what I'm about to say is incorrect, but in my heart, I think it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Cowboy Bebop is like a good, especially for people that like don't like anime or like think they don't like anime for, I'm an adult, I don't watch cartoons.
Is that what you're going to say?
That kind of whatever, or just some sort of weird hater because they think that's like nerd shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cowboy Bebop is like a solid kind of like bridge across that, because it doesn't feel like it's not like a classic Japanese anime where all the characters have giant eyes and are screaming and it's like silly and it's crazy over the top. It's pretty, it's as quote down to earth as you can be for a bounty hunter space show.
Yeah, that follows because I'm pretty much that person that you're talking about. Of just like, not that I look down on anime. I think that a lot of different art forms are valid, but I might be intimidated by anime in terms of just like, it's just very culturally different, and also I know that a lot of them are very long, and I don't. Well, yeah,
this isn't Naruto where it's 500 episodes.
So like,
right.
Like structurally knowing going in that this is 26 episodes, I am more open to it. But B, just like that, it did remind me of like Tarantino and other things of other like Western influences that like made it more like palatable for me, who has not seen a whole lot of anime other than like Dragon Ball Z.
And you're a big Western guy.
Yeah, real into Westerns.
Big John Wayne fan.
Yeah, I think you can see this that it's like the people in Japan that made this in the late 90s were definitely interested in Western culture a lot when they made this as well. So I think that helps to appeal to people over here, and then also to maybe bridge it a little bit. I think Cowboy Bebop's one of the things that made me go, I do like anime, and then like watch other things that were then much more like, whew, this is Japanese. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that can be very intimidating and or just like off-putting for some people, especially right away.
Mm-hmm.
But 26 episodes of just like this quality show could move people and like move the pendulum a little bit.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
for sure. Because it worked for me, who has little to no experience with anime other than being 10 and being into Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So.
Oh man, I love it when fight scenes take 30 episodes. That's a style. It's called something too, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the Dragon Ball, like when they get into a fight and it's like, it's like they're gonna fight Cell.
Yeah.
And then it's like Goku they're floating. Like there's at least a couple episodes where they're floating in the air, like 20 feet away from each other, about to fight, and they talk for 4 episodes.
Yeah. The next episode is them just like charging up an attack.
On the next episode, Goku might shoot a laser beam.
If you're lucky.
And I love Dragon Ball Z, but it's just like, dear God, just fight, guys.
So Tank and like the majority of the music in this is written by Yoko Kanno and performed by a group called the Seatbelts, which is, or just Seatbelts. No, the. And they perform like all of the music to this. and they're dope.
Yeah, it's good.
Including the real folk blues at the end, who has a
great song.
A singer, a vocalist.
Can't say her name.
I couldn't find it.
Oh.
My Yamane, perhaps. And the guy speaking at the beginning of Tank, I think I can't tell if he's like it says a longtime collaborator with Kano. Tim Jensen is his name.
Right.
So I don't know if he's one of the instrumentalists in Seatbelts or what. But I found a fun thing where a Canadian figure skater named Kevin Reynolds did a routine to Tank and dressed up as Spike. So one of the things about fun things about Spike is he's like very dapper, which I think is a funny part of his character. He just wears this incredible suit the whole time.
Blue suit.
Yeah.
Maybe like a violet or something, depending on.
Which, maybe that's like a way for a bounty hunter to not look like he's a bounty hunter, just be immaculately dressed and fashionable. I don't know.
I think it's part of it's like
great.
Well, it's just part of his character. It's just random. He's just wearing a suit kind of thing, and he's just chill, walking around with his hands in his pockets.
So you can look up a Canadian figure skater's routine to Tank.
So two things. Number one, Joe, you've seen this episode now. Would you roll into episode 2?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good.
Well, and also that
Let's
there's
do it.
like the screenshot of episode 2. There's like a pup on it. I want to see what's going on with this pup.
Yeah. It's kind of fun, and I explained to you a little bit more. These are the things that I told Joe after the episode finished. Listeners, is episode 2 is where Ein the dog appears for the first time. He's part of the
Einstein,
crew.
Who's a corgi.
He's a corgi.
Yeah.
Which is like the only reason I've ever been interested in owning a corgi is because of this show.
Well, they're cute as hell, though, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like, I'm a dog person, but like, bigger than that dogs.
I mean, your dog currently that you own is 10 corgis big.
I don't know if it's 10.
10 corgis in a trench coat.
I think she's like
I'm
65.
a big Jimmy dog.
She's filling out.
There's Ein. I think the next episode, the third episode, is when we get introduced to Faye Valentine, which, I mean, that's just like, I guess a lot. I mean, anime people know. If you watch anime, you probably know who most of these people in Cowboy Bebop are for sure. But Faye Valentine, she's joins the crew for reasons, kind of thing. And then later on, I think episode 9-ish or something like that, they also recruit Ed or Edward, and she is becomes part of the crew, and that's kind of the five.
She's like a teen. Ed. She's like
Ed's like somewhere in
teen, perhaps
early teens or something like that.
Hmm.
So, but she's fun. She's like a hacker.
Cool.
And Ein is like a genetically modified, like super smart dog. It's like some sort of science, like lab experiment that's escaped or something.
It doesn't like speak like
Okay.
or anything. It just barks. Like it's just a dog still. But
It's
like
just an incredibly intuitive
but
dog.
it's just like imagine you had like you owned like a really
mysterious.
smart dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of Ein.
So Ein is River in Firefly. Just some sort of lab experiment.
Oh, if you're gonna do that, okay.
Just drawing parallels.
Yeah, so those are those characters. I don't know if you put anybody of those things in your predictions, but going into predictions, at least this is what everybody knows baseline going into it.
Mm-hmm.
I had one prediction and I saw what the last episode was and went, all right, nope, I remembered that. So I nixed it and changed my prediction just to make sure I don't get some basically garbage points based on what I don't remember. So I'm going to do my predictions first, if that's okay. We saw Spike eat an entire hot dog. He put an entire hot dog in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think someone eats a food hole.
Like an entire
Ooh.
food.
Yeah, and not like a strawberry, like
Mhm.
like a hot dog or
Sure.
something like that. You know what you know what I
Something
mean?
not meant to be eaten whole.
Yeah. Second, I think green peppers and beef rear their ugly head again.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yum.
Um,
With or without beef?
I think they call it green peppers and beef.
All right.
With or without beef is not my problem. Number 3, I think Faye kills more than 5 people.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why I did a
Let's
pregnant
start
pause there, but that's what I did. And number 4, I don't think Jet ever leaves the Bebop in this show, in this episode.
Okay.
I thought you meant like in this series.
Oh, he never leaves. He definitely leaves the Bebop. Oh, we also didn't say that. It's called Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy is the term for a bounty hunter in this
Right.
universe, and Bebop is the
Name of
ship.
the ship. Mm-hmm.
So that's with the etymology of that show name.
There you go. Should I go? I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm a other person who's seen this. So I'm also trying to do stuff. It's been a long time, but trying to do some just wacky things. So in this first episode, Spike spends a lot of time when he first gets to Tijuana just like whistling really well. I kind of want to look up and see what that was about. Like, was that one of like the musicians or something? Was that really does the voice actor just really whistle well, and they found that out, so they made that a part. But I just have that Spike whistles tunes.
We'll find out.
That's the first.
Maybe he's not going to be in a whistling mood.
We'll see.
I mean, it's the finale, so it's probably too much going on for whistling to happen. Number 2, I also made note of the hot dog thing, so I just put hot dog. I think someone eats a hot dog. Probably Spike. He seems to revolve around food. I also so Spike, like a couple times. So with the hot dog thing, he steals that. He swipes that from Katrina when he like accidentally, air quotes, bumps into her and steals like a bunch of her food, and it just like turns out to just be like he's a crafty pickpocket, because then he steals one of the vials of red eye as well from Asimov. So I have Spike picks a pocket. Is my third one.
Mm-hmm.
And then my fourth one, just to be, do some more Firefly stuff. I have that someone makes reference to the verse, which is what they call the universe in Firefly.
The verse.
The verse.
So
the
you think
fastest
like
ship in the verse?
So you think like Firefly stole that from Cowboy Bebop then?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay.
Apparently, yeah.
Because
That's how that would work.
Definitely, yeah. Timeline
That's
works.
how time works.
Yeah. Okay.
I love time. Okay, so I'm going in fresh, and I've got the Bebop gets blown up. Gets destroyed.
How dare you?
And I did have a prediction for Ein, who is not a character in the first episode, but Ein the dog saves a life.
Ooh.
Saves somebody.
How to save a life.
I think that
the
they...
Frey fan.
Yeah. They've so far in the first episode been to Earth and Mars. I think that they travel beyond the asteroid belt. I was going to say just like the next planet over, which is Jupiter, but like could be Jupiter, it could be Saturn, just something beyond the asteroid belt.
Got it.
Okay.
And then my last prediction, I think there's a Death Star. And by Death Star, I mean like a large space station with a giant laser on it.
Do they have to confuse it for a moon for this to count?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
That's no moon, though.
But it is no moon. That's no moon. All right. Okay. So let's do this final episode. Joe, welcome to Confusing Town, because we're gonna watch part 2 of the Real Folk Blues.
Explain. This is part 2, but
there's part 1 and part 2, but they were separate weeks.
And there was a movie.
And there was a movie, but the movie takes place. I read it. It takes place in between episodes 22 and 23.
Oh.
So the movie.
And there's 26 episodes.
And there's 26
Gotcha.
So yeah, the movie is in the middle of the season even though it was made,
Interesting.
I believe, after the show was done.
Okay.
Well, for sure, because if the movie was set in came out in 2001.
Yeah, 2001. I didn't know.
Show was actually finished.
Yeah, I didn't know when the movie
in
came
the
out.
real world in Japan.
Yeah. So movie came out September 1st, 2001. Show obviously was over in 98. So
cool.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, movie is between 22 and 23. A la X-Files. When I think of movies of shows in between stuff, I think of X-Files.
So this show, according to Wikipedia, is set in 2071. I don't know where they get that from. It might say that at some point or something. But Firefly is set in 2517. So technically, yeah, Cowboy Bebop still came first.
Yeah. So technically, Cowboy Bebop still in all timelines came first.
Good to know.
All right, so we're going to watch the final episode of Cowboy Bebop called The Real Folk Blues Part 2, and we'll be back after that. And I believe we are back from the last episode of Cowboy Bebop. It was called The Real Folk Blues Part 2 is what we watched. Jimmy, right up? Go.
Yeah. So the U.S. version of this was November 26, 2001. Adult Swim. Reunited, Spike and Julia pick up where they left off, planning to escape the Red Dragon Syndicate. But Julia is shot and killed. Spike returns to the Bebop for a last meal with Jet, then storms the Red Dragon's headquarters to confront Vicious. Shin helps him, but is killed. Spike fights his way to the top floor of the Syndicate's skyscraper, but is badly wounded. Spike shoots Vicious in the chest, killing him. As Spike stumbles down a set of stairs and faces Syndicate members who rush to the scene, he holds up his fingers in a gun shape and says, "Bang," before collapsing. And the credits roll.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah, so other than that, like, he's with this girl Julia, who seems is like an old flame.
I mean, the very first part of the very first episode, like before thing, was essentially like a prelude to that. Like it was kind of a call towards what was about to go, what was gonna happen eventually. So,
and I feel like that happens throughout the series of like we see little snippets. But yeah, I had totally forgotten the like pilot episode started with like a kind of a black and white rainy thing, just like how this episode starts.
Mm-hmm. They had a plan.
So he's got a shady past. He's part of this like crime syndicate.
Yakuza. Red Dragon Syndicate.
Sure.
Turn good. Joe. I mean, I just want to jump into Joe. How'd you think about this? Joe Zone.
Yeah, I mean, a good amount to catch up on. It seems like the stakes are a lot higher, I guess. By the end here, just
one would say life or death.
Like it opened up, on that like, past scene. But the first scene that we saw that was current time was just like there's a room of just like dead people, like blood everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just from there it's just like, oh, like this is like it's not Marvel movie where like the universe is ending, but it's like there's some like bad shit going on. Right. And like a lot of people are dead or in danger. And then we saw main character die. And then yeah, just the ending battle between like the two like I don't want to say protagonists, but it seemed like that. Did I misremember one of the scenes where it looked like they were like working together at some point? Spike and the guy with the sword?
Yeah.
Vicious,
so it's probably things you probably you definitely learn at some point, because in my mind I know these things. So obviously this kind of like hint of Spike's past is obviously sprinkled just kind of within the 26 episodes.
Yeah.
For sure. But Spike used to belong to this Red Dragon Syndicate and kind of like was like partnered with Vicious.
Yeah.
That
it looked
guy.
like they were like working together at some point.
And he was like somebody, I think maybe both of them were like in love with Julia potentially. Sid for sure. I mean, yeah, Spike for sure was. And then you heard Shin say to Spike at some point in this episode, he said, I've just been waiting for you to come back, kind of thing. And Vicious is in charge, which I don't think he was in charge back then. I think he took control, and then for whatever reason Spike left, and then that's probably why he's a bounty hunter and not a stand-up individual.
He's like escaping the syndicate.
Yeah, he's just kind of new life.
Makes sense. But yeah, so they have a showdown, and it's very like, kind of reminded me of like a last. I mean, even because before he gets to that showdown, he has to like fight his way through this like
literal
Nakatomi
tower
Plaza.
of enemies.
Tower of bad guys. It felt very much like the end of a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the best way possible.
But hey, watching 25 episodes before that, you're like, Spike can do it. If anyone can do it, Spike can do it.
Yeah.
You figure
I
he's
mean,
gonna
he
get
did.
there.
Like, till the very end. And there were syndicate people there, so, they probably would have killed him. But before that, he killed the bad guy.
Yeah, he won that last battle.
I think it was a draw, technically.
Yeah,
right. If you both die, do either one of you win? Neither one of you lost per se. But
yeah.
He fell over. They could have rushed him to. It's the future. They could have had some kind of.
Yeah, I mean, without seeing like a funeral, you got a Walter White scenario where you don't know whether or not he's dead, and then El Camino comes out and confirms it.
He could be a lumberjack in Canada.
Could be.
Could have rode off in a yacht into a storm in Miami.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I totally picture that you could, even though this is only 26 episodes long, that you could watch that and be like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that you get to the end of this 26th episode and you're not like, man, I need more of this. That you're just like, that was awesome.
You were fulfilled with a succinct story.
Yeah, that's the picture I get.
Yeah.
Like there was a story to tell. They told it from beginning to end, and that was it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
because even the movie, it's like, this is just like an adventure we didn't show you from the middle, which is fun.
The movie's just like, like a triple length episode, really. So the movie is.
Yeah. But where Spike's alive.
Well, yeah, because that's why it happens in episode 22 to 23. That's why I couldn't remember. Like, I was like, is it the movie where Spike dies, or is it the last episode where Spike dies? I couldn't remember.
One major gripe, though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I was excited to go into the second episode because there's a screenshot of a pup. And no corgi in this episode at all.
Yeah, we don't know where. So we get very little of the Bebop in general. We get a quick scene of Jet and Faye talking, and she's like, Spike's gone, and he's like, my ship's messed up, my leg is busted, he's got a crutch, and they're like trying to talk about what they know about Spike's past or whatever, and then Jet goes to Laughing Bull,
pretty
to try
much
to
confirmation
figure
they're
out,
on Earth,
right?
I would say probably near Tijuana.
Jet is not. Yeah, Jet is not into that conversation he has with the bull guy. But yeah, no sign of Ed or Ein.
Well, doesn't Laughing Bull essentially say, like, I see it in not these words, but they basically say, oh, Spike's gonna die. I mean, that's because I mean, it's kind of obvious that that's why
dying.
Jet's there, is trying to get help with, like, trying to figure out where maybe Spike is and what's going on.
Yeah. A lot of death in this episode. Some lady named Annie dies in this like convenience store thing or something that's from Spike's past, and that was dope because he runs in there with Julia. We don't know who. I assume maybe we met her in the part 1, this Annie lady from like his past, and then she's like, Julia's like, we could run away and escape the syndicate like our plan was. And then it's clear that he's not about to do that.
As he's loading a shotgun.
Loading weapons. And then he says something like, I'm about to make a scene. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was badass.
I mean, I loved it.
and then Julia dies immediately. Mm-hmm. In a very cinematic way. I really appreciate the way that they did, because even in the first episode, when the like intergalactic whatever police shoot up the bad guys, all like the sound stopped, like all the effects and music and stuff stopped, and it's just like they made a thing out of out of these characters dying. I think that was really cool.
Yeah, they really kill people in great ways.
Really make sure they're dead.
Really good at it. What's the over under, Joe, of you watching 24 more of these episodes?
I mean, I'm weirdly interested in the live action remake that's coming out.
Is it because you just hate drawings so much?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel maybe because it's going to be new and because it's 10 episodes, that I'm more drawn to that. But it almost feels like I should watch this before the new one, right?
I mean, I would
100%.
Yeah, I don't want to be
characters.
I don't want to be any form of gatekeeper by any means.
Mm-hmm.
So if like you're gonna watch Cowboy Bebop in general, I'm probably pretty happy for you in general, because you're gonna have a great time, I think. I'm curious on, I don't know if we know this, how long the Netflix episodes are going to be. Is it like 45-minute, 10 episodes? Because that's almost all of Cowboy Bebop's running time. They're right there. So like if it's only 10 and it's that long, or are they doing 10 half-an-hour episodes and they're thinking about a season 2 kind of thing? Mm-hmm. Who knows? I'm not sure.
They're going to want a season.
It's like a Final Fantasy VII remake type thing where it's like this 10 episodes spans like 1.5 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Original Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, right. But in like that as well, I'd be like, yeah, you probably would get more out of it if you obviously played the first game, or in this case, watched the original series. Mm-hmm. You get more out of it in the way of like you kind of know it, but then you have your pre-expectations of that too.
Yeah,
so does that take away from enjoying the Netflix one? If not, because I mean, there is plenty of times where in this November 19th Netflix Cowboy Bebop that if they do something weird, I'll be like, I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
But I'm not usually one to.
If they don't have a live action corgi, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's at least gonna be different in that, even if I were to watch the anime one before the live action, that I don't have. It's like I'm going to watch the live action and have it with me for a few weeks and then start into or I'm going to watch the anime and then have it for a few weeks before I start into the live action. Mm-hmm. Whereas most other Cowboy Bebop fans have been watching the anime for literally 2 decades.
Right. Yeah.
And then are going to have to watch like a new thing. And that's going to be very different.
Yeah,
people are going to be pissed no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably seen all of Cowboy Bebop through probably 2 full times, I'd say,
at least.
I think watching this right now made me go, yeah, I could watch this one more time before it comes out.
Mm-hmm. A little
just
refresher.
Like a little refresher, because it's been forever.
Mm-hmm.
Months until then. Watch it so many times.
Like a month in September,
movie,
October, November.
I bet the movie is
2.5
also
months.
Sure. I don't have anything I'm watching right now. I can watch this.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm into this. I think I might watch it again. I almost turned on Bloodline episode 2 the other day.
Yeah. See what's going on.
I don't know. There was some sort of like stopper that hit my finger from hitting play.
Yeah. You just decided not to.
I just didn't do it. Yeah. So, and I think the stopper might now become a 25-minute episode of Cowboy Bebop. So I'd be curious. I don't think by any means do you have to watch the original to watch the live action.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's helpful. Just, I mean, it's like, where it's coming from.
I would say even just to get into where they introduced like Faye, we saw her for 5 seconds, and where they introduced Ed and the dog.
Yeah, I'll be curious now if you just waited and watch only the live action, and then you're gonna just get like Ed all of a sudden. I don't even know what they're gonna do with Ed in this live action. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah,
Ed's such a hilarious
maybe
character.
Won't see Ed.
So wacky.
Maybe they'll wait to try to do Ed for season 2.
Oh my god. Like how Cowboy Bebop originally was such a small. I mean, as far as an anime goes, it was one and done. It was 26 episodes and done. There's so many animes that are One Piece is like over 1,000 episodes long, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, or it's close, if not. Naruto's 500 something. I mean, there's various Pokemons, obviously, but like the series as a whole, Pokemon is hundreds and hundreds of episodes long. It's just nice to have a show that is going, this is what they did and they're done, and it's very clear. I feel like that they had this like plot line and they did it. It doesn't seem rushed. When you're finished with it and you watch the whole thing, it doesn't seem rushed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like they cut anything out because they were going to get canceled after one season. It's just not that. So I'm hoping that for the live action, they have a plan in it,
Right.
And it's not trying to see how many seasons can we make this go, because that would be terrible for it, I think.
Yeah. I'm intrigued that it's the same like production Sunrise production company. I hope that means that they'll make sure they do some justice, but
I mean, either that or it just means that they still own the rights to it and they demanded to be
get
part
that
of
money.
it. Yeah. They just wanted money.
All I know is if opening credits roll and Tank isn't playing, I'm going to shut that shit right off.
Yeah, I mean, music's such a big part of Cowboy Bebop, and it'll be very interesting what they do.
Yeah. Or if it's just like still a lot of music, but just a different vibe.
Yeah.
More modern take on the music. I don't know.
Well, the movie, if you get into the series and you need to watch the movie, it's not streaming anywhere, but I do own it on DVD, so let me know.
Listeners, if you want to borrow Jimmy's DVD, you can hit us up at FNL Podcast on Twitter.
I'll ship it right over.
You'll ship it. Just give us your address. You got to promise to give it back within 2 weeks.
The original composer Yoko Kanno returning for the live action adaptation. So
yes,
it might be different, but still, probably gonna be real good.
Yeah,
oh, That's dope.
I'll trust that. I'll trust that as good. It sounds like they're trying to do good. On this.
Do right by the
that's excellent.
Original.
Trying to do right. Anything else before we get into predictions that anyone wants to declare?
That whole thing.
A live action feature film version starring Keanu Reeves was also previously in development at Fox.
But it is canceled.
I think it's canceled.
I think that's fine.
Oh, ish.
That was a bad. That would have been a bad idea.
Oh,
and I like Keanu Reeves.
Sure.
Not enough.
No, not for this.
Oh man. Yikes.
Terrible. Okay, well, on that awful note, thank you, Joe. Let's see.
Of course it was Fox too.
Yeah, right. Let's see how we did for predictions.
Awesome.
I'll go first like I did last time. My first one, was that someone eats food whole. I don't think anyone ate. Well, Spike ate a meal, but he ate it like a human. Well, he ate it way too fast, but he ate it presumably not whole.
Yeah, we ate it with chopsticks.
My second one was green peppers and beef. I mean, they didn't say it. I don't know what it was. It kind of looked like it, but it had some like red in it. Maybe the beef was there. I'm not going to take because I didn't say it. Okay. So I don't know what it was. It also had like look at it like miso soup or something on the side too. Moving up in the world.
Yum.
Number 3, Faye kills more than 5 people. Faye did not leave the ship.
She shot her gun a bunch of times on the ship.
Yeah.
Semi at Spike.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I guess I put the wrong person's name down because I did write then Jet never leaves the ship. But Jet did leave Bebop because he went and talked to the shaman person.
For a hot second, he left.
So, 0.
I also have 0.
Oh, good.
There was no whistling from anyone that I... No hot dogs. I didn't see Spike pick any pockets. And no one called it the verse.
No. Very serious. Very serious episode, Jimmy.
One thing I had down, but I thought maybe I was remembering it because in the pilot they kept talking about Mars, and that was a whole thing, and I said they go to Mars, which I kind of feel like that's where we were because it was his past. See, I thought they were on Earth because Laughing Bull was they
there.
Went to the shaman on Earth.
And I don't know, for some reason I'm like, well, he didn't go to Mars.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
So the only person besides the people that we know last saw on Earth was that person.
And if the ship is like busted, they're probably not leaving the Earth's atmosphere.
I mean, they definitely travel around a bunch during the show. I don't really know where they go and how far they go, but I would say
have to watch and find out.
I would say like clues point to them being on Earth still, like again.
Sure.
Cool. I think I'm also at 0. I said the Bebop gets blown up, which it seems fine.
Well, it's broken, but it's not blown up.
Yeah. Ein saves a life, and Ein was not in it.
That's too bad.
They travel beyond the asteroid belt, and it seemed that they were... I assumed Earth also.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the Death Star, which we didn't really see any sort of other starships. So, no.
Just a plaza.
We did great.
Yeah.
It's because the show did so good that we did so bad.
So unpredictable.
Yeah. It was too good. Show 199.
Oh, yeah.
Tune in next week.
That's right. Listeners, next week it is episode 208, I believe. But it is our 200th TV show. So that's a thing.
So don't let us down, Joe.
Oh, it's a me show?
I think it's a me show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You chose Bloodline?
I chose Bloodline.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Frasier.
Don't screw it up.
Frasier.
Starting over.
Starting over.
Week after that, Entourage.
Oh, God. Definitely not.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I got fresh eyes for it.
I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah. Probably. So stick around, listeners. Next week is our 200th TV show, and we don't have that many episodes left in season 8. So I think there's only 3 or 4 episodes after that.
Holy crap!
Until we're on the first and last these 8. Insert tagline after that. Figure it out. Still haven't used the Land Before Time tagline yet, so we're getting there probably.
How many of those are there?
Like 45. So, but yeah, if you want to give us a show suggestion or just hit us up, you can at F&L Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter as well. Until then, we'll see you later, Space Cowboy. Goodbye.